right, James. So you and I have known each other for many, many years now, probably over 20, I
I was
would
going to
say.
say, we're talking about decades now, not years.
Decades. It's frightening. It is frightening. But I think one of the first times that I met you was probably at a conference. I'm sure you were on stage presenting. It may have been in Toronto. It may have been in California. It may have been in Orlando. I can't remember. But since then, we've had many, many opportunities to present together and learn from each other. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, we have probably worked with thousands and thousands of mutual customers, obviously in the realm of improving their real estate business, for all of those 20 plus years. So
Yeah, thousands,
that's sort of
honestly.
special.
Yeah. So you started your career as a real estate agent, correct? Working
Yes, I
for
did.
a
I
real
got
estate
my
team?
I got my real estate license and I was 24 and I started as an
Mhm.
inside sales agent for the number one sales rep on planet Earth for Remax, Mr. Craig Proctor, who
Yes.
happened to be in my marketplace, and he ran an ad looking for licensed agents. And and I had very recently got my real estate license and responded, and my whole life changed meeting such a once in a lifetime dynamic entrepreneur like Craig. And so I started doing inside sales and did that for many, many years. And eventually that kind of led to other agents wanting to explore Craig's success, wanting to know how he sold all those houses. And part of that was the inside sales process, making offers and how we converted leads. And so I naturally got into teaching and training that. And I would say fast forward 30 years, right?
Right.
But it was that actually happened 30 years ago this month, but fast forward 30 years and yeah, now that is my exclusive primary focus is I work with some of the biggest real estate teams in North America, just training their ISA teams to be more efficient and effective at their lead conversion. So they don't need to
Yes.
spend more money on more leads. They just need to be more efficient and effective with the leads they have, and everybody's happy. And so it's what I enjoy and I'm good at. And yeah, so that's the latest.
Yeah, you sure are. You are an expert, I would say, at that. And I think thousands of agents would probably be an understatement because you've been in front of thousands at any given time, right? Over the last couple decades
Yeah,
of presenting live, right?
starting in around 2009, I have actually conducted live personally it's now well over 1,000 live training events of various sizes all over North America. Um,
Yeah.
Primarily on this very topic, which is so key to your real estate success. Anybody can go out and buy leads or generate leads, but if you don't have the tools and the skills to convert those leads, you're gonna have a tough time going to the bank trying to cash leads in. It doesn't work that way. So,
Yeah.
it's a very critical part of the real estate business for sure.
Well, it sure is. And I can say, as somebody who is usually on the other end of helping agents generate leads, it doesn't matter how many leads you have in your database, that is not going to affect your bank account. It's the number of leads that you're able to effectively convert. And it is tough. I know how difficult it can be. It really requires a certain mindset. So if you could identify a skill or a mindset shift that separates a good agent from a top performing one, what are those? What have you seen over the years in terms of that mind shift, or sorry, that mindset shift?
Well, and I will say that it's funny that you do bring up to begin with the idea of mindset, because you're right. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it really is. It's one component, but it is a huge component of being good at this and succeeding at this is the idea that when you're converting prospects who have asked for real estate information, I cannot tell you how many realtors think they're doing something wrong. They literally feel like they're doing something wrong. They're bothering people. They're they're rubbing people the wrong way, or maybe they're too aggressive in calling. So their mindset from the very beginning is, I'm apprehensive about doing this. Maybe it's that they equate it to cold calling. They're doing something literally illegal. But
Yeah.
but what you'll notice is this: the top producers, the best, the best in the industry, they do not even have a speck of these thoughts in their head. They are helping someone who has already signified that they're ready to buy or sell real estate, or they're certainly considering buying or selling real estate. And their attitude, their mindset is, if I don't help them, a competitor is. And that ain't
Right.
happening on my watch. So I am a dog on a bone, reaching this prospect, making them awesome offers to help them, and nothing is going to steer me in any other direction. It's a completely different mindset of, absolute determination of reaching, converting, and ultimately doing business with a given prospect, versus the masses who are very apprehensive about it. Like just the number of agents, and Kristie, I know you're more than aware of this, where you've got data from a lot of customers where you can see you didn't even try to reach these leads, or you've done nothing.
Right.
There's been and it's a mental thing. It's not like, oh, I don't have time, I'm busy folding all my money. It's like, no, you haven't
Mm,
closed anything in some time now. You're not busy. You're apprehensive. You're afraid to do it because your mindset is all wrong. That's the first
right.
thing that's got to be adjusted. Is you need to be a lot more dogged in your determination to help people that have raised their hands asking to be helped. You're not doing anything wrong. You're doing something really right. So
Right.
that is definitely an observation that I've made many times over the years.
I would agree with that. I remember speaking to an agent about it, and he had grown up in a household where if the phone rang during dinner time, his dad would flip out, right? Like he would just pick up the phone and say, "How dare you disturb our dinner? Like, who are you?" And that completely destroyed
Right.
his mindset, right? He was terrified to call people. He didn't want to pester anyone. He thought that people would yell at him, and that really got in his way as far as sales and being able to convert
Yeah.
these leads.
Another an exercise that I've done with many agents who have a particularly bad case of this apprehension, an
Hmm.
exercise that I've done with them is, I find that to a large extent, part of it is the anticipation that they're going to ask for an appointment. In other words, it's not just I'm picking up the phone to talk to somebody who probably doesn't want to talk to me. It's also
Right.
I'm going to ask them to meet with me. I'm going to ask for an appointment, and I'm just so scared and apprehensive about that I procrastinate. I'll do it tomorrow. I promise myself I'll do it. And that's where it's the pressure of, I've got to make an offer for an appointment. And so one of the exercises that I found to be effective with a lot of agents is saying, I want you to call 5 prospects back. And no matter how good they are, they can jump up and down begging for an appointment. No appointment. You're not going to bring up an appointment. You're not going to offer an appointment. All I want you to do is, I just want you to call them and tell them the reason that you're calling and what they did for you to be calling them. And I want you to label
Mm.
it a courtesy call. And you're going to get a thank you from them. And then you're going to say, have a great day. And you're going to hang up. And you're going to do that with 5 prospects. Okay. And what you're going to start to discover is all of this pressure you've put on yourself. If you do this right, you know what you're going to hear more than anything from the prospects? Appreciation. Hey, Kristie, it's
Right.
James with ABC Realty. I just wanted to give you a quick call here this morning because you were on our website searching properties for sale, and I just wanted to give you a quick courtesy call. We've opened up full access for you to indefinitely search away, and I certainly hope you find the information helpful, Kristie.
Right.
Have a great day. And
Right.
you do that 5 times. No one's mean to you. No one's swearing, right? No one's taking
Yep.
it off your list. How dare you? It's dinner time. It's
Right.
all of a sudden you do that 5 times and you're like, that's not so bad. No one's being mean
Yeah.
to me. So the part you're afraid of then is going past that point and exploring their timing and motivation a little bit, asking some probing questions, discovering their motivation, and then ultimately making them an offer if appropriate. That's the part you're afraid of. So if we can tackle this one step at a time, let's not be afraid of actually picking up the phone and following up with leads. That's tackle that first. Then get into the blockage of why are we afraid to offer an appointment is because you don't know what offer to make that would compel someone to want to meet with you. And part of it is you would never meet with you. So why would they? It's like the
Mm-hmm.
first sale a salesperson must make is to themselves. So if I said,
Yeah.
hey, if you were a lead, would you meet with you? And they're like, nope, I wouldn't meet with me. That's your problem.
Right.
You need to
That's the
have the
first.
tools. You need to have the tools to say, wow, this would be really helpful. If I was a buyer, I'd meet with me. That's a great, if I was a seller, I'd definitely meet. We need to make that shift. So you need to be armed with the tools and how to articulate those tools. And all of a sudden, we put it all together. That same prospects or that same agent 6 months from now is like, I'm cured. I'm
I'm
cured.
unstuck. I'm unstuck.
I'm
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I call for an hour every day, all my leads, old leads, new leads, sphere, everybody. And I know I'll book an appointment or two every day that I sit down and do it. And that's the
I
other
love
thing too
that.
is, mindset, success goes a long way in encouraging. Look, if you sit down and every time you do, you get nowhere with everybody, you get bored of that pretty quick. But
Right.
if you start to see some success, it makes it a lot more enjoyable when you get a good result. And then that feeds on itself. And you do more and more and more and more of it, right? So,
No, it sure
um,
does. It's a big energy boost, right? When you
absolutely.
have that positive experience for sure. And I love that example of taking the pressure off of yourself to get the appointment, close, have a closing event happening during this call.
That's what they're
You're
afraid of.
just right. You're just trying to get unstuck and get past that barrier of actually making these calls. Yes. Yeah,
Yep.
no, I really love that. But as far as getting the appointment, we know how important that is. So what are some of your recommendations when it comes to handling those objections when you get them? Because we know that they got their backs up and they may be a little
Sure.
reluctant
Well,
to agree to an
this
appointment.
will sound like a cop out. And
Mm,
I will address more directly that question of objections. But honestly, with a with a good offer, a really solid beneficial offer, you eliminate most objections if the prospect actually wants the thing you're offering. Right? So for years
of
and years,
course.
I've used the example, very proud of myself. I made this up myself of the gold bricks. And here's what it means. The gold brick scenario is this. Hey, when I meet with any of my any clients, I have some gold bricks here in my office, and I like to hand out gold bricks at the appointment. Yeah, it's solid 24 karat gold, solid brick. I have no idea what it's worth, tens of thousands of dollars. But anyway, I'll give you one when we meet. By the way, when would you like to meet? Are you available? What do you think they'd say? Do you think they'd say, "Oh, I need to think about it"? No, I don't want to meet with a realtor right now. I all of a sudden it'd be like, I'll be right there. Hold tight. I'm coming right now.
Right.
Why is that? I thought you said they didn't want to meet with realtors. I thought you said no one wants to meet. Yeah, but you're offering them a gold brick and that's valuable. Ah, so what you're saying is if you offer something valuable, then they will meet. We're on to something here. What do you offer that's valuable then? Or are you one of the 99% of agents that say, I'd really love to get together with you so we can chat?
Mm.
That's not a gold
So I could
brick.
learn more.
That's a
I could learn more
steaming.
about what,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like, that's not an offer. That's like,
Hmm.
I'd love to meet with you. That's not a gold brick. That's a steaming turd. No wonder they don't want to meet with you, right? It's like, we need a gold brick. So, first things first, if we want to meet with a buyer, we have to make them an offer that's better than what they're doing now, that they would actually want. And what's better than one offer are two offers, right? If we want to book an appointment with the seller, we need to make them an offer that is so valuable that it would save them or make them tens of thousands of dollars, just like a gold brick. And then we're more likely to get the appointment. So the best way to eliminate objections of the appointment is to make sure our offer is strong. Now, even doing that, we're still going to run into, from time to time, we can't eliminate all objections. We can dramatically reduce them, but we can't fully eliminate them. So, but first things first, and that is definitely the offers need to be strong before we can explain how to get said offer.
Right.
So if you want, why don't I detail an example? Okay, so
Okay.
we got a buyer prospect, and I recognize they're actively looking. As a matter of fact, the very last question I asked them is, how have you been looking? It's the
Right.
last question I want to ask is, how have you been looking? Because it's going to seamlessly cross the bridge into my offer. Because I
Right.
know it's a kind of a rhetorical question a little bit, in that they're going to say they're looking on the internet. Why? Because that's what 99.9% of any buyer prospect is doing. So I can tell there's motivation there. They're looking around, they're certainly in the market. And my final question I'm going to ask them is, how have you been looking? To which they likely reply, yeah, we look on Zillow, or we look on, MLS.ca, or whatever website they're going on to, but it's the internet, they're going to say. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use what I refer to as a bridge to the offer. And it's going to sound like this. I'm going to say, hey, Kristie, I got a couple really good suggestions that I know will be helpful for you right now. And the first is, you mentioned you're looking primarily on the internet. Would it be valuable if I could alert you to those very same properties before they got to the internet? Sometimes a little bit before, sometimes a lot before, but you'd be the first buyer to know about these properties, so you could beat out other buyers. And the best part is, I don't charge any money. It's absolutely free. You're not obligated to buy any. Would getting alerted to those properties before they got on the internet, would that be helpful for your search?
Yes. Yeah,
I'm
sure would.
not saying anything about an appointment. I'm just
Right.
focusing on the offer itself, right? I'm almost saying it like, what I want you to think is, if you say yes, all I have to do is press a button, and presto, you get alerted to these properties before they're on the internet. I'm not saying that, and that's certainly not how it works, but I want you to think, because I want to make it very easy for you to opt in and say yes. And we call
Mm.
that a tie down. That means you are verbally tied down to the offer. You verbally said, yes, that would be helpful, which is important, because it's going to make it harder for you to wiggle out of the appointment when you've already said, yes, you want it. Okay,
Right.
then I'm going to go on to the next offer. And I'm going to say, the second suggestion I have, Kristie, is we can get you access to off-market unlisted properties that are not available for sale to the open public, only in the areas and price points that you're interested in, that perfectly match what you and your family are looking for. So when the time is right, you'd be the only buyer that knows about these properties. There's no for sale sign. They're not on the MLS. You certainly won't find them anywhere on the internet. But as long as they perfectly match what you and your family are looking for, we can find you these off-market homes when the time is right. And it's also absolutely free. And of course, you're not obligated to buy any of them. Would that also be helpful for your search right now?
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely would.
Okay, so now I've got you tied down twice. Twice you've said, yes, that would be helpful for me. I've made sure you understand there's no cost to it. You're not obligated in any way to buy anything. So now I got to tell you how to get it, because I haven't told you that yet. You may have invented that I just push a button and you get them, but I didn't say that. So now that you've agreed that you want it. Now I'm going to ask for the appointment, but I have to make sense of the appointment or you're going to object. So I'm going to say, hey, Kristie, when do you have 20 minutes to come and sit down with us and show us exactly what you're looking for so we can be assured we do a great job of only finding you the perfect homes for you and your family without the risk of missing out on something that would have been great or wasting your time sending you what isn't great. As I mentioned, there isn't any cost to it. You can leave your wallet behind, not charge any money. You're not obligated to buy anything. And we're flexible. Do you have 20 minutes later on this evening, or perhaps tomorrow or the weekend would be more convenient? What works best?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
we could still get an objection, but what you're
Mm-hmm.
going to find is following that sequence, you're dramatically reducing the instances of objection because you've done a couple things. One, you've presented the gold brick or as close to the gold brick as we're going to offer, right? It's
Right.
really valuable. What we're offering them is better than what they're doing now. What we're offering them doesn't cost any money. What we're offering them doesn't obligate them in any way, right? So it's all plus, plus, plus. Then we offer the appointment, but we have to make sense of it. So if you listen to the language I'm using, we're saying, when do you have 20 minutes to come and sit down beside us? Show us what you're looking for, right? Here's where you could really screw it up. You say, when can you tell me what you're looking for? And the most obvious answer is, I'll tell you right now. But that's not
Right.
an appointment. We want an appointment. We need to physically meet with them because we're going to take them through a presentation and procure them as a client. Now, as of right now, they don't want to do that. That's because we haven't presented the benefits of it. But once we get face to face with them, then we have that opportunity to explain all we do to help them find a property. All they need to do is hire us, right?
Right.
And so, but we can, that's the next series in the baby step. But as far as the appointment goes, the way that we want to eliminate that, well, I can just tell you right now, I really don't have time to meet, is we want to preempt it by saying, when have you got 20 minutes to come and sit down beside us, show us, whether it's, if it's you yourself, you can say, hey, when have you got 20 minutes to come and sit down with me and show me exactly accurately what you're looking for so I can do a great job of only finding you the perfect properties for you and your family. And we can be assured we don't miss out on the perfect home or waste your time sending you what isn't right. Take about 20 minutes. As I said, you can leave your wallet at home. I assure you, we're not charging you money or obligating you to buy anything or anything like that. And we're flexible. So, when a convenient time, maybe you have some time this evening, tomorrow would be better. Perhaps the weekend is more convenient. You
Right.
do that, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, weekend's good, Saturday's fine, tomorrow night is good. You get appointments. Once in a while, though, you do get objections like, I'm really busy right now, I'm not sure.
I'll get back to you.
Yeah,
You
like,
know, I'll,
can I get back to you on that? So we want to be able to handle that. Okay. That should
yeah.
be the exception to the rule. If that's happening all the time, what that tells me is they're not seeing the benefit in your offer, right? Because it should be the exception, not the rule. If they're all
Right.
saying it, then what they're saying is, I don't understand why I would want to meet with you. I don't see any value in what you're offering me. But if it's once in a while, it's usually legit. Like they legit need to check their schedule or want to talk to their spouse or whatever it is. So we should have a good
Mm-hmm.
explanation for that. So one of the ways we can handle that is just with a tentative appointment. You know, since we're both on the phone together right now, why don't we do this at least? Let's pencil in a tentative time that will likely work. Because if it doesn't work, you speak to your wife and your husband and it doesn't work, we can always reschedule it at that time. But if it does, at least we'll have something on the books. What's likely better, days or evenings for you? Will
Right.
that
Yeah.
always work? No, but it works most of the time. It's better than this. Call me back. Huh. Now you're chasing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or another common one is, I'm really busy. And the great explanation to that is what I'm proposing is actually designed to save you time. If we
Right.
can spend 20 minutes together up front, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer Prospect, it will save you hours and hours of time throughout the process because we're eliminating looking at properties that are of absolutely no interest to you, or worse, missing out on what would be the perfect property. So literally spending 20 minutes up front is hours and hours worth of time saved. It is free, as I mentioned, you're not obligated to buy anything. Would you reconsider a brief appointment at your convenience?
Yeah. Yeah. So now you're giving them another added benefit, identifying another concern of theirs, which is their time and not having it, right? Not
That's
having
right.
the time to spend.
Right.
I like the series of small S's or small yeses, mind you. Getting those small yeses along the way
Critical.
does work. Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're called tie downs. And what you're
Hmm.
doing subconsciously is you're tying them down to the offer. They're verbally agreeing that what you're offering them would be helpful and that they would like it. So
Right.
we get them to tie themselves down to those offers. And then when we tell them how to get it at the appointment, it makes it more difficult for them to say, well, I really don't want that, or I'm really not interested. It's like you already said you were, so it becomes less likely that they decline. Sometimes they
Right.
will, but usually that takes care of it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's extremely important when you are making those calls. And how do you feel about hiring people to do this activity that could be a virtual assistant? It could be AI, which is now happening.
Well,
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, considering I got hired to do exactly that 30 years
Hmm.
ago, I have a good attitude about it. Um,
Right.
no, but what I would say is this, and this has been demonstrated over and over again, is the only time that you should be delegating your lead conversion is when you are completely full out and can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
But because if you delegate, what I would argue is in terms of working in your business, like the day to day working in your business, I'm not talking about working on making it better, creating systems, working on marketing, right? Educating, training, like that kind of thing. That's working on your business in an effort to make it better. That's for the rainmaker, that's for the owner, that's their chief purpose as the owner of their company. But
Yeah.
working in the business is the actual like day to day. Like, what do you do to work with buyers and sellers and everything? And converting leads is the most dollar productive task in your business that exists if you're good at it. If you're not
Right.
good at it, then you could spend hours and hours and get nowhere. It's worth $0 per hour. But if you are the rainmaker, if you're the owner, and you follow up with leads and over the course of an hour you book 2 or 3 appointments, that is worth more money. You having 2 or 3 appointments that you've set in an hour, if we extrapolate, like, what does 2 or 3 appointments mean to you? It means that 2 of them are going to result in contracts signed, at least one, if not 1.5, are going to result in a closed commission check. We're talking tens of
Right.
thousands of dollars that's worth per hour. It is extremely dollar productive. If you're good at it, there's nothing you could be doing over that hour that would make you more money than booking appointments with your leads. If you're bad at it and you get nowhere with everybody, it ceases to be dollar productive. So the mistake is I'm not good at it, so I'm going to delegate it and expect someone else to be good at something that I'm not. I can't teach them how to be good at it because I'm not. Where they need to go is they need to learn how to be good at it first. You cannot possibly train someone else to be good at it until you are first, right? So that's the first step is,
Right.
and I work with agents every day just like that, where they've got to get really, really good at this. And as soon as they are, they're more reluctant to delegate away the leads,
Right.
right? It's like, why would I,
Yeah.
I do it myself and look what the results I get. Okay, so that's one form. Now, the other side of the equation, though, is as you grow, um, and we begin to create an overflow of prospects, which leads to an overflow of follow-up, which leads to an overflow of appointments. It leads to an overflow of everything.
Right.
At that point, we need to rely on people. We have to put people in place, right? We have unlicensed administrative person in place to handle the sea of paperwork that doesn't require a real estate license, but it has to get done and sucks up a lot of time. We hire, a licensed OSA, outside sales agent, that they can go on buyer appointments or show homes. It's very time consuming. It requires a real estate license, but as the rainmaker, you may not have time to spend that working in your business time running around. Someone else can do it just as well.
Right.
And same is true with the conversion stuff, which is eventually there's too much of it for you to do it all by yourself. But you're so good at it that you're in a position where you could delegate that and teach someone else to be pretty darn good at it as well, as Craig taught me to be pretty darn good at it
Right.
over many, many years as well. And ultimately, if you think about it, that's what I would consider the end zone. The end zone meaning the dream of any entrepreneur would be to own a business that they own, but they don't work there. I just own the place. I don't work there. Like I own 6 McDonald's. I don't work at any of them. They're in Iowa. I don't even live there. I just own them. Right? Well, oh my God, who cooks the fries? Jake. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I just own the place, man. Like, yes, when I started it, I did everything, but now I own the place, right? So the lead generation is automatic. I've got people in place that handle the administrative work. I've got inside salespeople that convert the leads in a systematic way. I've got an office manager that makes sure all the trains run on time. I've got outside sales agents that go on the appointments and they all give the same perfect appointment presentation. And I just own the place. Like that's the end zone of the entrepreneur, where they don't work in their business at all. And I might argue that the very last thing to give up completely would be the conversion, because it is the most critical. It can shut down your business. I've seen many an agent where when they gave up the conversion too soon, their business immediately took a nosedive. Because the appointments went from 15 appointments a month to 3. And you cannot recover from that. There's no recovering.
Yeah.
Well, what happened to the other, where did the other, 12, 13 appointments go? Well, I'm not booking them anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. So it's not happening. You're going to go out.
And by the time that happens, it's almost too late, because now you're starting to blame things like the lead quality, or perhaps the marketing message, or a variety of things, right? Before you identify the real problem, which is you took yourself out of that role, such a crucial role,
prematurely.
Exactly, prematurely. Because it's true, until you have that overflow of business, it's such an important activity. You should not be giving that up or abdicating that responsibility.
And the first focus should be, before I give it up, I'm going to make sure that my ISA, inside sales agent, whoever is helping me, or those that are helping me, I'm going to pour all my resources and training into making them as good as me, because I know that day that I start to step back from it, maybe I baby step my way back from it, they've got to be as good as me, or that catastrophic decline will be my reality. So there is a right way of doing it. But yeah, I mean, that it is when good at it, there isn't any activity more dollar productive in your business and converting your leads into appointments and ultimately appointments into clients. There's nothing else you could do.
And how important is role playing in this process, this training process?
Oh, it's it's practice. It's critical. It's almost like a cheat. It's cheating. It's such an unfair advantage to get good quickly, is role playing. Well, I'll tell you, there are two things that are critical to getting good fast. One is role playing without question, because you can stop in the middle of it and micro correct and what have you. But it would be like this, like a professional golfer, let's say they spend X hours a week actually playing competitive golf, where they're playing a round of golf, but they spend 4 to 1 more hours practicing than actually playing. Right? They're working on their golf game. They're actually practicing. They're on the range working on things on the putting greens, or they play a practice round. It's called literally a practice round. They'll hit 3 balls from the same spot all the time, just stuff like that. And it's kind of like, okay, well, they must know what they're doing. They're making a bit of money and they're pretty damn good at it. So we could learn from that as well. It's practicing it. And the other thing that we would do is record ourselves. You need
Right.
to you need to analyze yourself from a third party perspective. So role playing with someone else or role playing with an expert, even better. I've been doing that for years and years with countless thousands, if not tens of thousands of agents, and I still do it to this day. Role playing is huge. I mean, it's how you get
Right.
better, is stopping you at the moment you're making that mistake. But again, the other suggestion I would have is record yourself making some phone calls, right? Even just for your purposes. Download an app on your phone, record a call.
Yep.
You just record both sides of the conversation. If you have a CRM, most of the CRMs will do it automatically anyway, right? But if you want to hear progress, you listen to some calls, do it on the first of every month. I listen to some calls from the first of the month last month, and then the month before that, and today. And when you spread it out that wide, you'll see progress. If you're doing it every day and you're listening every day, you won't notice that you're getting better. But when you spread it out over a month, you'll be like, wow, last month or 2 months ago to now, I'm a different human being. I'm just so much more skilled, more confident, more comfortable, clearer, just everything about it. I'm just clearly getting better. But it is listening from that third party perspective where you hear yourself say things that you didn't recognize. You're like, I'm going to stop that right away. I sound like an idiot. Or I am so focused on what I'm going to say, I'm not listening to my prospect. They're telling me what they want to do, and I'm ignoring them, focused on what I want to say next. Only by listening from that third party perspective do you really get a handle on this. It's just so valuable. And going back to the golf analogy, go get a golf lesson. First thing they'll do is set you up and they'll record what you look like. And they'll show
Mm-hmm.
you, here's Tiger. You suck,
Right.
Tiger good. Right?
Mm.
Here's why.
See what you're doing? Yeah.
Right?
See
See
how
what
you
you're doing?
bend your,
And you're like,
yeah.
I thought I looked just like Tiger when I was swinging. I was sure. Like, look, I got the same clubs. What the heck? Yeah,
Right.
it's like, you don't. But it's by seeing it from that third party perspective that it becomes glaringly obvious, and it allows you to make corrections so much more quickly. So
Yeah.
role playing, recording, these are two huge tools that will make you better at this.
I absolutely agree. And I also know that it's not comfortable, right? Listening to yourself fumble and make
Why? Just do it.
mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, even just do it for yourself. It's like, you want to be a better dancer, record yourself dancing, and one of two things will happen. You'll either get better or you will never dance again. Right?
It's so true. I was hoping to improve my tennis game, and I was going to record myself. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to see that.
Right.
That might
Right.
make
It's
me
like,
want to quit the game altogether. No, but I agree about the recording. I think it's absolutely essential in order to improve. And I love that idea of having a progression and going back, making sure that you do this at the beginning of the month, set a schedule, have a process in place, give yourself 3 or 4 months and say, I'm going to do this consistently for 3 months. And this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to see how my business changes, see how my process changes, see what kind of progress I can make in that period of time.
and that's, yeah, I mean, when you're feeling like, oh man, I don't know if I'm getting anywhere here, that's where it's so valuable to say, okay, so let's go back 2 months and let's listen to some of my recordings from 2 months ago. And
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I feel better. I
Yes.
feel much better. Right.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm
Because you can see
motivated. I'm
progress,
encouraged.
right? It's
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
if anyone's ever tried to lose weight before, the scale is like, it doesn't lie, but
Yeah.
it kind of is gray in that if you weighed yourself every single day, then from day to day, you'll gain weight. But in the grand
Right.
scheme of things, you're losing weight. If you did it once a month and you were trying to lose weight, you'd see progress over the course of a month. But if you did
Right.
it every day, you'd probably get pretty frustrated because some days you're like, that's impossible. How did I gain 2 pounds from yesterday? I ate like a bean. What the heck?
Right.
Right. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, that's just how it goes. Right. It's like not linear. Right. And so similar
Yeah.
to this, you record yourself every day. You're in it every day. You don't see it. You don't really see it. But when you can spread it out like that, it'll give you a little pump up, a little boost, because you'll definitely see some progress, provided that you're working on getting better. I mean, this all assumes that you've got a plan. You're not just continually doing the
Right.
same thing over and over again, right?
Right.
And
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 expecting things to change. Right.
which people do. I mean, I know we say that, they always say, I don't know if Einstein actually ever said that, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing, expecting a different result. But at this point, he's not arguing. So I guess we're gonna, but it's true. Like
Yeah.
we actually do that. How many,
Hmm.
how many, you will use the analogy of golf. It's like playing golf for literally decades and shoot the identical scores with exactly the same problems and mistakes, and like nothing ever changes because all you do is continually do the same thing over and over and over again. Why
Same.
would it change
Right.
and get better? And the same is true
Right.
here, is if we're getting nowhere with everybody and we just do more of it, then we're just going to get nowhere with more prospects. So this does assume that we're working on making this better.
Yes. Yes. Putting the work into it and having that positive mindset. Now, being live on the phone, right? There's obviously nothing like it. Being live in person, totally different animal as well. Do you do a lot of training in terms of the face to face, toe to toe type marketing activities, and maybe
Yep.
how to
Yeah.
set yourself up for success with that?
You know what? Yes, but it's definitely 80-20.
Mm,
80% getting the appointment. And here's why. When I pose this question to most realtors, if you could get face to face more often with more prospects, just that alone, would that have a significant impact on your transactions and on your income? Forget
right.
about even what
Yeah.
happens at the appointment. If you just got face to face far more often with motivated buyers and sellers, you got in the door, you got an appointment, you're face to face with them, and they were looking to buy or sell. Would that
Right.
alone cause you to have a major increase in production? And
Yes. Yeah.
99.999% of agents say yes. Now, I'm not saying, okay, good, then that means you can have a crap presentation. I'm not
Right.
saying that. But what I am saying is the agent with the crappy presentation who meets face to face all the time with prospects sells way more real estate than the agent with an incredible presentation and they meet with nobody.
Right.
So one is more important than the other. There is just no question about it. One is far more important than the other. And that's why this is 80-20, getting more face to face appointments. The part that amazes me is realtors, and rightly so, invest a lot of time, money, and resources into lead generation, lead generation, lead generation. It's everywhere. It's all over your news feed on social media. If you're a realtor, you are inundated, scrolling. Everything's about selling you this, lead generation, that. You know, leads, leads, leads. We are, and rightly so, as I mentioned, obsessed with, I need to have a flow of leads. I need to have some sort of funnel for my leads. And I'm willing to invest in that, even if I'm not selling much in the way of real estate. I understand this is something I got to have figured out. I got to
Right.
have investment in that. But then when you say, well, what about the conversion? What if you invested in being better at the conversion of those very leads that you're spending all this money on? What have you done in that regard? Well, I just
Right.
wing it. I wing it.
Yeah.
Like there
Well,
should be
I
a
mean,
little
there's,
balance, leads, we can
mhm,
generate leads, right? We can generate lots of leads. You guys generate lots and lots of leads for clients, right? It's not impossible to have an overflow of leads, but if we've put no training, resources, or attention into what we're going to do with those leads, what we're going to say to them, how we're going to reach them, what offers we're going to make to them, it's just such a hole in the boat.
mm,
And this is
yeah,
what I preach every day is, you know, I get it. You spend a lot of money on your lead generation, but spend a little bit of money on your lead conversion and becoming really good at that. And you're going to see your income skyrocket far more than generating 10 more leads. 10 more leads ain't going to
right.
do anything. 10 more appointments, that's going to do something. 10 more appointments will
Yeah,
absolutely move the needle significantly. 10 more leads wouldn't change anything.
right. Right. Now, absolutely, I totally agree. I'm on board with the more people you get on the phone and have conversations with, the more money you're going to make. Now, getting them on the phone, we know that can be a challenge, right? That's where technology can be your friend and help you out a little bit. Uh, how do you see things like CRM automation, sending out follow-up messaging via text message, video, things like that? How do you see that fitting into this overall process?
The approach that I've evolved into teaching today is what I refer to as the all hands on deck approach, which
Hmm.
means when we generate a prospect that has raised their hands and asked for information, they are so valuable that we cannot leave a single stone unturned. We need to do everything that we have available, all tools we have available to communicate with that prospect. And we'll eliminate no tool, automatic text messaging, through our CRM system, videos, obviously emailing, ringless voicemail, calling them, is obviously our primary tool, getting them on the phone. All of these things, though, um, uh, through our social media messenger platforms, all of it, it is an
Hmm.
all hands on deck approach to communicating with leads, I'm going to call it. We need to get a prospect on any of these means of communication just to respond. And once
Mm,
they respond, then we can baby step them into a phone call. Ultimately, we do need to get them on the phone. Okay. It's the easiest, best, most effective way to communicate with them to get an appointment. But
yeah,
we don't mind if we've got to put a little baby step in there and maybe they respond to a text first. Maybe we send them a little video and they watch the video and then they respond to that video and we parlay that into, hey, let's jump on a 5-minute phone call. You can tell me what you're looking for. Just to
right.
get, you're right. But it's the all hands on deck approach means we're not saying no to any way of communicating with the leads that we've generated. Because if we only rely on one, we're going to be disappointed. If we only rely on just calling them, you can be awesome at it. You probably reach 50% if you're awesome.
Yeah,
If you
right,
only rely on your CRM, oh, it emails them and texts them. So ball's in their court. You'll reach 10%, right? Like
right.
any one thing is going to be disappointing. It's a collection of all hands on deck approach. And, we can communicate with the majority of them and ultimately, convert them into a phone call into an appointment into a client. And,
Yeah,
we talked about those rainmakers at the top of the pyramid with a different mindset. That's their mindset. These leads are valuable. They're going to buy and sell real estate. And I'll be damned if they're going to do it with somebody else because of my lack of effort. It might be for
Yeah.
another reason, but it will not be from lack of effort, determination, to reach the prospect, to communicate with the prospect.
Yeah, and there's so many methods you can use, so many ways to communicate. And I see it almost as uh, a way to gain their permission for a phone call. Sometimes warming them up with some messaging can actually make that phone call delightful, as
Infinitely
opposed to
easier.
awkward. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think the industry standard is probably 10 to 12 touches it can take before you can actually reach somebody on the phone. So the more messaging you have, the more hands on deck you've got going out to those prospects or to those leads. They're not really prospects yet. The yeah, you're demonstrating to them actually how important you see them as being to get in contact with,
Yeah,
which is definitely best practice. And I think that video is also playing a pretty big role in that now because it does a pretty
100%.
good job of introducing you to that person, right? Gaining
Yeah,
some
not only
trust, maybe.
yeah, not only that, but it's just it's easy to digest content on video. So,
Yeah.
me making a quick little video saying, "Hey, I saw that you were on our site searching properties. I just wanted to give you make this quick video to see if you might be interested in accessing off-market unlisted properties in the area you're looking in. These are homes not available to the public that match what you want. No for sale sign. It's free. If you'd like me to
Right.
add those properties or find them for you, just reply to this message here and we'll set you up." Like
Right.
the likeliness of them watching that video versus reading that in text or reading that in an email is a lot better chance they're gonna. And even if they didn't respond, I'm branding. I'm starting the process of branding myself, right?
Exactly. And that
Creating
remarketing process is so
familiarity.
important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
creating familiarity. So, but again, the approach is all hands on deck. You're not going to name one thing that I can say, oh yeah, that's the thing you should. It's like, nope. In going into 2025, we should be doing everything using all the technology, all the latest means of communication to to reach prospects and let them know that we're the ones that are, reaching out to them with help,
Right.
not
Yeah,
being,
absolutely.
embarrassed about that or thinking, oh, we're going too far, as some agents do. I work with a team and they had their setup so they call once on day one and then they leave it
Hmm.
alone and they call them again 2 days later. And like they're reaching out to their prospect. They get a new lead. They call them once on the first day. Don't call them on the second day. Give it a day, then the next day. That was their protocol.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well,
Yeah.
we don't want to look like we're desperate and bothering them. And it's like, got to change that right now. Got to change
Yeah.
it right now. We got to change that right now. I'd rather you'd call them 5 times, text them, call them, email, all of it, do all of that for the first 2, 3, 4, 5 days. You do that. What do you think happens immediately? Way more communication. All of these leads, it's just through the roof, night and day difference,
Yeah.
right? But this notion of, yeah, I'm going to wait a few days and then I'll call. I know some realtors have. It reminds me of the I call it now the old movie. Remember the movie Swingers, the
Hmm.
guys with Vince Vaughn,
Hmm.
right? Remember that they
Yep.
always debated as to when they got a phone number from a girl when they should call her back, and it just got
Yeah.
pushed out longer. It's like, oh, 4 days for sure, 4 days. You don't want to look desperate. I always laugh, but I think that's like agents with leads. When should I call? I don't want to look like
Mm.
I'm too desperate here. It's like you should try to look as desperate as possible because it's not desperation. What it is it's determination. You
Mm.
are doggedly determined to help them because they've asked you for help. Nothing wrong with that at all. As a matter of fact,
That's right.
you know what's a reflection of? It's a reflection of the level and quality of service you provide.
I think that a lot of people need to remember that, right? I think
Right.
that's so key. And being that being that professional that doesn't give up, that is persistent, you are demonstrating to that person that that is how you operate. And that's exactly what they need
You know what
in an
they're,
agent.
definitely not thinking? This agent really is lazy. They're sure
I
not
know.
thinking that, right?
No,
When they're getting all of these correspondences like coming at them from every device they have, right? They open their
right.
mailbox and there you are. You're everywhere. Like the
Yeah.
one thing they definitely can't say is, well, this is a real lazy agent. Nope. So what would that say if they worked for you? What kind of level of service do you think they'd provide if this is a demonstration of, their work ethic and their determination? It can only be good, you know?
Well, I mean, I think that's a perfect way to put it. And I do want to be mindful of your time because I know we're a bit over. But I think that it's also important to look at this as a way of starting to develop real connections with people. You know, like that is also a big goal here is having the mindset of every outcome that you're looking for is to actually have a real genuine connection with somebody and ultimately be able to help them, you know, with this monumental event that's happening in their life. So
Yeah.
as far as like generating leads, having those leads coming into your funnel, having a really strong follow-up process, that's all great. But there's also a whole layer of business there that I think people aren't necessarily focusing on, and that is referral business and being able to generate more business from referrals. Do you have any tips or training that you do in that regard to help agents maybe generate more business from their past
Well,
clients or
the first thing that I'll say in that regard is, and I learned this from Coach Todd Walters. I know
Mhm.
you know Todd, but many might be
Yeah.
familiar with Todd Walters. Um, and Todd says, one of the many things that I learned from Todd that really always sticks out in my mind is we do not refer to past clients, we refer to lifetime customers. And a lifetime customer is somebody that not only does business with you over and over and over again. Like I assure you, when you leave your dentist's office, they don't refer to you as, oh, there goes James, the our past client.
Right.
You're a lifetime
Yeah.
customer. That's called
Right.
normal. The dry cleaner, when you pick up your dry cleaning, they don't say, well, it was, good having you as a past client now. It's like lifetime customer, normal. And what does a lifetime customer mean? It means not only are they likely to do business, and we're going to make sure that happens, but it also means that they are a referral network for us as well, right?
Yeah.
We can put incentives in place, not monetary incentives, but you know, even another from Todd is charitable incentives in place to encourage referral business and repeat business from our network of lifetime customers, which can also include sphere of influence, people that, we have personal relationships with as well. But knowing that, um, you know, you're not in the past, you just become part of our lifetime customer base. And lifetime
Right.
customer, you may never buy another home or sell another home through us, but that doesn't mean you're not a valued customer because you know people. So one of the best ways that Todd teaches realtors to do that is through a worthy called worthy cause marketing, and that is
Hmm.
you attach your brand to something that is very near and important to your heart. you know Maybe it's the hospital for sick kids, something like that, like something that might be near to you. Maybe it's animal shelter, rescue. There are all kinds of things. I'm not going to rhyme off every charity that might be important to somebody, but if you are
Hmm.
associated to that and that becomes part of your brand, that a portion of our business earnings go to support this very worthy cause. And I want you to know that, because when I ask people might be considering buying, and I'm asking you to send me referral business, I want you to know that the effort that you put in doesn't just go to line our pockets and make our company stronger and more lucrative, but it also goes to our worthy cause marketing, which we understand is more important than any of this, really, in the grand
Right.
scheme of things. And so, and when that's done really well, and I can think of so many big, great teams that really
Hmm.
focus on this, it really spirals and spirals and spirals, and they generate an absolute ton of business, and they're able to, donate countless tens of thousands of dollars to these various charities, all from business that they wouldn't have otherwise generated from referral, from past clients, from their sphere, because
Yeah.
they branded themselves successfully, associated themselves with that particular worthy cause that was bigger than selling real estate, bigger than your company.
Mm.
And you know what? I think that we're in an age now of consumer conscious decision makers, right? Consumers are conscious of the companies they do business with today more than ever, right?
Right.
You know, if a realtor could label themselves organic, they'd probably generate more. Like there's just, there's just
Your
there's a
Whole Foods realtor right here.
there's a higher level of aware free range. I'm a free range realtor,
Yeah.
right? No one locks me up here, right? But there's like just a higher level of consciousness among consumers in the day and age we live in right now, where people want to make decisions, purchasing decisions. They want to make them more responsibly. They're more aware of those decisions of what product they purchase, what, et cetera, et cetera. So
Right.
there isn't any reason why we can't also be tied to that as well, be involved in that as well. It is a great idea. It's a better world. It's a better society when people are, conscious of the purchasing decisions they make and how that affects other people and the future. So,
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people choose to work with you, not necessarily because of what you do and your stats and your rank and your brokerage, but it's who you are, right? It's how you conduct yourself. It's the things that you believe in. People can really connect with that. And
yeah,
I think that that is so important in sales as well, is, people throw around the term authenticity all the time, but there certainly is a value to it, and people do connect with it.
right.
And in your sales process, you should not be shying away from it. You
100%.
should be embracing it.
Yep.
This has been amazing, James. Thank you so much. I wish we could chat more, but I know you're on West Coast time. It's the middle of your day right now, so
Yeah, no, it's all good.
I'm
It's all good. It was great to connect again, and yeah, we'll definitely do this again.
mhm.
Yeah, we've known each other for such a long time, and no, there's no rehearsing, right? We don't need to rehearse. We pretty much have a
There's
pretty good handle on that. The
yeah,
only thing I would
between
like
the
to
two of
mention
us,
is
there's a
this.
lot of ideas flying
The
back and forth.
only the only thing that I would like to mention to everybody is, if you have any questions for me, or are considering or looking into lead conversion training specifically, you need more appointments, you could step up your game a little bit on the process by which you're following up with leads, go visit agentleadtoclose.com, and there's lots of information there. And if you have any like specific questions, there's an email at the bottom, info@agentleadtoclose.com, or you can email me, james@agentleadtoclose.com. But I would love to help you. And if there's an opportunity to work with you, if that time is right, by all means, we can absolutely discuss that. But again, it comes back to, I get it. As an owner of a business, you have to invest in your marketing. You've got to invest in where your customers are going to come from. But if you don't also invest in the process once you have them, you could be spending a lot of money, and it's just inefficiency. It could be so much better. We combine tools and skill, and with the same number of leads, which is why, like Kristie, you've got clients that with the identical leads sell hundreds of homes a year, and another agent with the identical leads from the same sources sell 2.
Right.
Why?
Yeah.
The
It's
leads
all
are
in the
coming from
follow-up.
the exact same source, the same process, the same sort of offers, the same
Mm-hmm.
mediums. It's the conversion process.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if that's you and you want to look into it, check it out and we can have a conversation about it. If you don't mind me saying that, Kristie.
Absolutely.
But anyway,
Agentleadtoclose.com. We're gonna share.
agentleadtoclose.com. Yep, that's it. And love to be able to help you. So anyway, yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then, hey, let's do it again. Maybe not quite so long, but hey, we had lots to talk about.
Absolutely.
Great to see you again, Kristie.
Okay, perfect. Thank
Have
you
a
so
great
much.
Christmas and a happy New Year.
You too. Best to you and the fam.
You too. Thanks, Kristie.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.